Good morning. Welcome to the community briefing. This is the Carroll Lutheran Village segment. And this morning we're going to speak with Cindy Hershberg, who is a resident here at Carroll Lutheran Village. So good morning, Cindy.
Good morning.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and how long have you lived at Carroll Lutheran Village?
I was born and raised in Western Pennsylvania, and my work took me to California and Virginia, and spent quite a few years as a federal employee, had my own business in financial planning and investments, retired and started really having fun when I started volunteering with historical organizations in Howard County. That kind of led to my husband and I volunteering around the country with the National Park Service. So we volunteered on Lewis and Clark in Montana, things in Nevada, B&O Canal, Abbott, all of it connected to our hobby of traveling in a motorhome.
So you travel around in an RV and you go to the national parks.
Yep.
So what do you do there? Like, are there just different things each
I'm
one?
sure everybody who's been to a national park has seen someone do my job. I'm the person who walks in and pushes the button to start the movie.
That's a very important job.
It's a very important job, yes.
That's so fun. So how did you get involved with that? Because I know some other people that I've met at national parks that do the same thing. They travel in their RV and they volunteer. So how do you get involved with that?
It was a matter of reading some of the travel magazines, and there'd be, see, if you want to learn about any kind of volunteer at the national parks, check this website. So I think it was something like volunteer.gov/gov or something like that. Mm-hmm. And we checked it. Corps of Engineers will pay you to camp at some of their lakes and be the campground host. We were looking for helping to staff information centers. So we were at the information center in Great Falls, Montana for the Lewis and Clark, and I trained as a step-on bus tour guide. My husband was doing video stuff. We then continued to volunteer in that area, this time with the Bureau of Land Management, with the Upper Missouri Breaks National Monument. We volunteered there for 3 summers, and it was a marvelous experience with my Western Pennsylvania Allegheny Mountain orientation to get to live on the northern plains for a while. It was like nothing else on earth. I actually saw a rainbow that was a circle, looking off looking off north into Canada. Yeah, memorable.
That is. Well, that's exciting.
When my hubby retired, we knew we wanted to travel. We had never, with our respective jobs, had enough vacation time to get much west of the Mississippi. Okay. So when he retired, we wanted to travel west of the Mississippi. So what we did is we asked some friends to take care of our house, check on it, so on and so forth. And when we were gone for 2 weeks, it worked well. When we were gone for 4 weeks, not so much.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of a story a friend told about, gee, I hope your throw rugs are dry in the basement. Oh. Well, apparently, when my friend had emptied the dehumidifier down there, the bin didn't set correctly, and all of the, so that work fell to her. It fell to her. And we decided we'd rather keep our friends than... And we were keen on arranging our lives so that we could run away from home for longer periods of time. So we moved here in 2007. If I remember correctly, our house back home hadn't sold. So we didn't unpack the boxes. We just stacked them in the living room in case we had to haul them back out again.
Right.
And then we jumped in the motorhome and said, ta-ta, see you in August.
That's so great.
It was.
That's great. Oh, well, I was going to say, that is certainly... since you like to travel, and I was going to ask you some more about your traveling, but that's definitely perfect because then you can just go. Yep. Like here, you don't have to worry about anything. You just, I like the little phrase, the lock and leave.
Yep.
And just go and not have to worry about anything.
And if the dehumidifier overflows, there's a responsible adult who's going to take care of it.
That's right. That's right. So, okay, so what was your initial plan? Like,
my husband's parents... my husband's family and his parents had a wonderful, wonderful experience with a continuing care, a life care community in the Richmond area, which was such a gift, such a blessing for the family because the nearest kid was 2 hours away. So when the call came in, and this is real, I'm out of milk, what should I do? It snowed. there were phone calls that could be made to neighbors and nearby friends,
Right.
but it sharpened up the need to have support at hand, ready
Right.
and at hand, because you never know when that, gee, we're out of milk and it snowed and what do I do?
What do I do?
Question comes up.
Right, right. So you were familiar with this type of community. I was going to ask you the question, when was the specific moment that you realized now is the time? But obviously when you were traveling and said, we just want to leave the house. And
When
not
the
have to do it.
dehumidifier overflowed.
That was the key, the dehumidifier, huh?
Yeah, that made us think about, now what are we really doing here? We're the foolish grasshopper, and we're leaving all of our friends, the wise ants, at home to watch take care of our universe. That's not us. That isn't how we do things.
Yeah. So how did you choose Carroll Lutheran Village specifically? Did you have a house in Howard County? Is that where you live?
In Ellicott City, yeah.
Okay.
Well, my late husband was an engineer, so we reviewed 24 information packets from communities ranging from southern Pennsylvania down to the Carolinas. We visited a dozen of them located west of the Baltimore Beltway and within an easy driving distance to the community, Ellicott City, that we were leaving, because we didn't want to leave our friends there, those lovely people who
took care of your house.
And happily, I'm still in touch with them these many years later.
Yeah.
So, and then we did visits, and my hubby did a spreadsheet, and every time we did a visit, our questions got a little bit better, and we could see some of the trade-offs we would need to make. For example, I loved my quarter-acre lot in historic Ellicott City, but my hubby no longer loved mowing it and raking it and doing the gutters, and we were already writing a check for people to come and take care of that for us.
Right.
So the trade-off was, I'm sorry to leave you little quarter-acre lot, but there's a smaller lot between here and my neighbor, and somebody else mows it and has the equipment to get in, get out, and get it done, which wasn't really a physical option for the two of us when we decided to make our change.
Now, how old were you when you guys decided to come here?
Oh, I was a mere babe. I was probably in my early 60s.
Oh, you were a
And
mere
my
babe.
hubby was in 65, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is kind of young for here, because I've talked to a lot of people that it seems like the average is kind of like they wait till their 70s or whatever. So yeah, but you did it at the perfect time because you're still healthy and able to drive the RV and go do fun things.
I agree, because I've been here a while, since 2007. I've made some of the best friendships I have ever had in my life. It's easy to socialize, and there's a lot about the transition. It was a big change. But we had moved from our little house in Ellicott City to a cottage here on campus, so we still had that house experience. And it was surprisingly easy to make the transition to being on campus, because both my hubby and I had the experience of going away to school. So, you got your dorm room, and you've got the dining hall, and you've got the library, which we're sitting in, and you have different eateries on campus. We have 5 different
like
social
college.
There was a lot of parallel life experience that made the adjustment very easy.
So how long did you live in the cottage?
I still do.
Oh, you still do?
Yeah, I
Okay.
did downsize after my hubby's passing, and the village was so kind. I was filling up my space with stuff. I was kind of like, that second bedroom was stuff, and I thought, you're paying a lot of money to house this stuff, and maybe you should think about it differently, right? So with the help of the village, I was able to downsize into a lovely little cottage. I think the first one might have been about 1,800 square feet on Weller Way. I'm just almost across the street, and it's about 1,200 square feet. And it's perfect for me. It's a bedroom, an office, beautiful sunroom, looking out onto the woods and stuff like that. Great neighbors on either side, so it was a difficult time, and the village was very supportive.
So what are some of the activities and things that you do here on campus that are especially meaningful?
I never thought I had any artistic ability. And when I moved here, I learned that I could take art classes from some very capable people and just kind of walk down the street. And I thought, well, this isn't like driving at night. This is... So I started taking art classes here, and I'm very, very pleased with what I've learned to do.
Have you discovered you're an artist? Well, that looks...
When I grow up.
When you grow up. So what have you done? What kind of, like, watercolor, or what kind of...
I started out doing... Shirley Lippy was the instructor available at the time. And there were a number of us who were beginners, so she sat us in the front row, and the first several class cycles, almost a year, had to do with working with pencil and perspective and shading and distance and stuff like that. It was just a wonderful foundation, and still puts me in good shape, I think.
That's fun. So what other talents did you discover that you had?
I went from pencil, and then I started working in watercolor, and I absolutely loved it. Did a lot of watercolor interpretations of some of the photos that we had taken during our travels.
Yeah.
But after my hubby passed, my heart wasn't in it anymore, so I picked it up after I moved to my new cottage. I started working in pastels, and I decided that I like them so much better. Unlike watercolor, they stay where you put them. Right?
They don't drip, right?
They don't wander off. And the other thing is, anyone who works in a medium like oil or acrylic or watercolor, you mix these unique colors, and you need to keep them. But we were working in a class where we packed up our gear and put it away until the next class came up, and I could never get back to the right color again. And maybe if I had known more, it wouldn't have been such an annoyance, but it aggravated the daylights out of me. Like, where is that pink? Right?
And pastels, you don't have to worry about them. The colors there.
Well, you can still blend them. I'm very fortunate. I'm able to take live classes, in-person classes over at the Carroll County Arts Council.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's quite wonderful. A couple of weeks ago, I took an art class all day and attended a musical concert in the evening. What a nice Saturday.
Well, that's a good day. That's great. So tell us a little bit about people who may be thinking about Carroll Lutheran Village and the lock and leave mentality, because it is wonderful if you want to travel. Explain to people how you came up with that.
There was something I'd like to invite people to consider, because I really did sit and think about this, gave it some thought, and I would like to suggest that there are signposts for people to be aware of when maybe it's time for them to start thinking. It was the overflowing dehumidifier in the basement
that left a big impression.
That brought that life. that let's be responsible adults, right? But there are other things that I think people encounter, and they just say, okay, well, I can handle that. Okay, well, I can handle that. One of the things that I think would be a signpost would be, if you've started paying somebody else to do the yard and gutters, if that's just not how you want to spend your life, if that's happening. Some of the other ones would be, if you're deciding, well, I don't think I was comfortable driving home from dinner this evening with my friends, so I'm going to limit how much I'm going to go out in the evening and maybe hitch rides more, so on and so forth. Some of the other things had to do with, sometimes there are changes in your circle of friends that really affect you, and it's time to put yourself in a situation that gives you more flexibility than what you're seeing your friends struggle with. So I would offer and there's probably a dozen more. If you find that you're going to wait till the kids come over to carry this thing up out of the basement because you don't want to do the stairs with your arms full, I offer those as signposts. That it's time to rethink your surroundings. I don't think stop sign's right, it's just a signpost. And when you start accumulating the signposts, perhaps you ought to put on top of that and we want to go on a cruise this winter, right? So, for me, some of the travel we had done in the motorhome was amazing. America is just the most amazing place on the planet. We've visited 49 states, untold national parks and state parks. I was telling a friend recently, we at one of our trips west after my hubby retired, and after we moved here, we stopped at Independence, Missouri, where all of the wagon trains stepped off. And on the recommendation, we followed one of the little arrow signs that said Trail, Oregon Trail. Okay. Well, there were so many wagons that took off from Independence, Missouri. The wagons wore ruts in the sandstone, and I could walk in the ruts, and they came up to my knees. I got to get back in the car and turn on the air conditioning. Our forebears continued walking west to Oregon, to California, to the gold fields, it is a lesson in respect for our ancestors.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You learned you walked in someone else's shoes, literally, to see what it was like.
It's been a decade, easy, and I still remember it so vividly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I like the way you described, the signpost. That's a perfect example. Like when you're living in your home, and yes, all these things start to, I don't want to mow the lawn anymore, and I really shouldn't climb up on the roof and clean the gutters, and all that kind of stuff. And then you have the opportunity, like you said, you guys wanted to travel. You wanted to see the whole United States, and I think it's great how you put it all together and said, we can do this.
We can do this, yeah. And even since my husband's passing, there are different organizations here in town that will help you travel. I'm getting ready to do my third trip with the Carroll Community College. I've been to Ireland, where I found my grandmother. I've been to Italy. I was in Rome a week before Easter and saw all the preparations and the big TV screens and stuff like that. And I'm getting ready to go to Paris in June. Wow. I've studied French for 243 consecutive days.
All right, you're ready.
Mes amis, yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, I think you are definitely a perfect example of someone who made the right choice at the right time and has got to live the best life doing things that you want to do. And that's what retirement's all about.
Yes.
You want to be able to, enjoy and do the things that you want to do. And
my daughter lives in Vermont, and she has said on several occasions that she's so glad I'm in this situation, that she doesn't have to be concerned that if I don't feel well, there's no one to tell. If the battery goes dead in the car, there's no place to go to get some somebody nearby to lend a hand. My neighbor showed me how to check the oil in my car last year, which I thought was a nice life skill.
Yeah, it is a good skill. Yeah, and actually that's true. It gives your family peace of mind that they know you're safe, and if you need help, then someone is here to help you, and you can lock and leave and go visit them.
Been there, done that, yes.
Well, you gave some great advice. I kind of probably know the answer to this question, but what would you say to someone who's thinking about moving to Carroll Lutheran Village but isn't sure if their timing is right?
I think I would suggest those signposts,
mm-hmm.
and I think I would recommend they take advantage of a particular worksheet that Carroll Lutheran Village gave us, because a lot of the inhibitions or concerns has to do with the finances, like how is this going to work? So there was this worksheet that said, well, what are you paying for lawn care, snow removal, furnace care, water heater, what are you paying for this, that, or the other thing? And when you put the Carroll Lutheran Village amenities included in the monthly fee, and the costs that are coming out of the family checking account, really works out better. Not to mention, there's a high probability that the people who show up with Carroll Lutheran Village are competent, right? The day before the big snowstorm hit in January, there was the storm was expected Sunday, and Saturday morning I woke up and my heat pump was out. And it was 50 degrees in the house. So I got myself a work order, and by 3 o'clock they had people there. By 6 o'clock it was fixed, and I was cozy when the storm hit. But I had pictures of being back in Ellicott City, going through I said, I don't care if you're competent, just show up and tell me what the heck is going on with my furnace, please. When
it's an emergency, you don't know what you're going to get. But here you always know that you're going to get that.
And the guys are so nice. They don't mind. I've done dumb things like, I can't close my storm door. And one of these gracious gentlemen will show up, Miss Cindy, what you do is this. Oh, oops. That's real. Yeah.
Well,
That's not hypothetical. I did that.
Looking back, is there anything you wish that you had known earlier?
I can't think so. I can't think of anything. I don't know how I would have anticipated how valuable my learning to do art has become in my life. It's part of what balances all of this, all of the serious business of, paying the bills and stuff like that with, there's no purpose beyond this from enjoyment. It's just about enjoyment.
Yeah.
I don't know I would have known to look for that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would have known. And the opportunity to take the trips I've taken with folks who live right in my neighborhood with the community college, I don't know that I would have known to look for that. So I certainly appreciate them and value them. And I've heard a friend uses the phrase, I didn't know what I didn't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure, exactly. Yeah. And that's think of how many people who don't live in a continuing care community would never know they have any artistic ability, because where would that opportunity come?
Yeah.
And
I've also learned to play hearts recently. A lady 2 doors up gives lessons on a Friday afternoon.
There you go.
So we go to her house and have a cookie and play with the cards face up, so you get an idea of what it's. And I believe there's other games. We are teaching each other. Residents are teaching other residents. I've heard bridge. I've heard mahjong, and I've participated in hearts. So I know there's poker too, but the guys don't talk about that.
No, the guys talk about it. Well, it sounds like you have certainly had an opportunity to make a ton of new friends as well.
Oh, yeah.
As you said, you're still close enough that you could keep your other friends from your neighborhood. Yeah. Well, if you could sum up your experience at Carroll Lutheran Village in a few words, what would you say?
It's a beautiful farm country, and the people here, including the staff, are so gracious and caring. I would say that.
Okay. And that's what everyone says, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And it's so obvious, too, here. Everyone is just so wonderful. All right, if you're just joining us, you've missed a wonderful conversation we've had with Cindy Hershberg from Carroll Lutheran Village, but you can listen to it on demand. And if you want to find out more information about Carroll Lutheran Village, you could call 443-241-2949, or you can check the website, which is clvillage.org.